Hi, everybody. Welcome to Conversations with Coaches on Shameless Explorations. I'm Holly Lotus, and today I'm here with Rain Montana. Rain, I met in the Erotic Blueprint community, but she is she has so much in her background. Let me just tell you a little bit about her. Rain has been an expert in the fitness industry for over 30 years, helping over 40,000 clients achieve their health and fitness goals.
4,000.
4,000. I gave you so much more. For the past 17 years, she and her husband have co-owned a gym and produce an annual bodybuilding show. She's even earned her pro card in a figure competition at 50 years old. And that is something I so look up to, Rain. That's amazing. I'll tell you a little bit of my history in a minute. As the co-founder of MyAl Wellness, the world's leading vaginal rejuvenation product, she supports women's intimate health. She's worked side by side with some of the world's greatest sexuality experts, including Miss Jaya, the creator of the Erotic Blueprints, Sheila Kelly, the founder of S Factor, and Mama Gina with the School of Womanly Arts. Powerhouse. She's passionate about helping women own their body and sensuality in an empowering way, and is a master of helping women to step into their own desires. So thank you so much, Rain, for joining me. I'm so excited to have you here. One of the things about you that is so fun is that you tie in the body to all of this, and I've been obsessive about body stuff, nutrition, all these things. I used to want to be a bodybuilder. I don't know if you knew that about me, but I'm just so excited to hear what you have to say today about the body connection, self-love, because for me, the timing is perfect to have you on. I'm going through some body stuff. I've been through something similar before, but this is the most intense I've ever had it. And it's like, even though I study pleasure, I play with pleasure for so many years, I'm struggling a little bit to be putting my pleasure and self-love into the place where I have the pain in my body. So I just love the conversation showing up today, and wonder what can contribute to my body and everybody else's just by us being here. So thanks for coming.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm
Yeah,
excited to have this time with you and just share.
thank you. Yes. So is there anything else that you want to share with us about yourself before I ask some fun questions?
No, I think you covered it.
Yeah, you have so much. It's so exciting to talk with somebody who's can really understand the body and how that ties into all the a lot of times people don't include the body in the conversation of transformation, creating something greater, having pleasure. It all ties in, and the body is such a great contribution. So yeah, so tell me exactly, what is it that you do?
Well, I primarily help women over 40 who are struggling with an unfulfilling sex life and aren't getting the intimacy they desire.
Mm. So why is that important, especially now?
Yeah, great question. I think it's always important. I also believe that when we bury our sexuality, it dims every part of our life. Our relationships, our intimate relationships, it dims how we act and show up in the world. And I think right now is especially important because we are in a shift in our world, and we're going through a lot of changes and things we're having to work through.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, and if we're stuck at home, why not focus on pleasure?
Yeah,
um, and so one of the things that I read in your biography is about the MyL.
right.
How does that support you in your business?
Yeah, so the way that it
Well,
supports.
not really you. Like, how are you
Yeah,
using it to support
right,
your clients,
right.
really?
It helps women. What I find is so many of my clients have not only challenges of painful sex, partner challenges, and other things like that, but in addition to that, the women often have vaginal dryness, laxicity in their muscles. They might have urinary continence if they jump, laugh, sneeze, maybe losing a little bit of urine. And all of these challenges can affect our sex life, especially if we're having any type of pain or discomfort. And often that's just due to dryness through menopause and various other things. So the Myel wand works with red and blue light and sonic vibration.
Mm.
And it helps with all of these challenges. So the blue light is proprietary to us, and it really affects more of the surface area. So women who maybe struggle with yeast infections, various things like that. The red light penetrates a little deeper, and that's where it's going to help more of the muscles in the deeper part of our vulva. But how it works, back to how it helps
Mhm.
women, when we reduce or remove some of these challenges, they're going to feel more confident. They're going to have less pain. Uh, Hopefully, they're going to enjoy sex a lot more, although it's not just about the sensation in our vulva. It's so many more things, as you know. But when we can help that, it helps a lot of things.
That's beautiful. I'm going to share. I don't know if any of you watching these have noticed, but my favorite way to spread information is just to embarrass myself and share a lot about it. So TMI maybe, but I had experience after having my daughter, and then 9 months later having a motorcycle accident, um, and then like it injured my hips, and so my pelvic floor was super weak, and so for a long time I had trouble with just leaking urine, and then so it does so affect confidence, because like if you have that and then there's a scent, and then you like maybe you have to wear poise pads or something after having a baby or an accident, or like now my body is like in the physical pain again, so I've taken some muscle relaxants again. The bladder is a muscle. So it has relaxed my muscle, and now those same symptoms are showing up. And how annoying and how fun. I just actually ordered a belt that does this infrared thing for the rest of your body. And so exciting that you created one for like vaginal health. So that's a beautiful thing to offer into the world. Thank you
Yeah,
for.
it's important, and like you said, it will help rejuvenate the birth canal. It also detoxifies and eliminates odors, some
Mhm.
of the odors, I can say that word, that some women deal with regarding yeast infections and other things. It helps with uh, sex apathy and vaginal sensitivity. So sometimes it's not that women are hurting, it's that they don't have as much sensation.
Mhm.
And so it will help increase sensation, which is another really important factor.
Wow, that's really fun to know, um, and exciting that that technology exists. So thanks for bringing that into the world and sharing about that possibility. Um, how did you? So if you started in fitness, it's just really fun. How did you come to this work?
It took over the years, I began to feel like something was missing.
Mm.
Uh, Over the years, I felt shut down and disconnected. I was running several businesses or raising kids. Sex with my husband became more sporadic. It was less frequent. It was sort of stale. And in addition to that, I was dealing with hormonal issues. I did have painful sex at that time. And I also lost a lot of my hair in just a few week periods. So I had a lot going on. And I set out on this search to find out, what's the missing piece. So my story is that several years ago, I set out on my year of yes.
Mm.
And I want to preface this by saying anybody can have a year of yes, and it doesn't have to cost anything. So a year of yes can be whatever you choose to do. Mine just took me to several places in the country. So the first place I went to was Mama Gina's, the
Mm.
School of Womanly Arts, and I went to her mastery program and graduated from that. And there I learned to reclaim the magnificence of the feminine, a missing piece, one missing piece.
Yeah.
So, as you know, our world is very masculine. And my profession, being a trainer, owning a gym, is very masculine.
Mhm.
And I had lost touch of my feminine energy, and I was operating so much more in my masculine energy. And that's also partly why I wasn't happy. So after Mama Gina's, I went to San Francisco. And by the way, these weren't like fly from New York to San Francisco. There was a little time in between. And actually, my year of yes was more like a year and a half, but it just makes it easier to say a year of yes. So, but from there, I studied under Bernadette Pleasant, who's the creator of the Emotional Institute. And that's where I learned more about healing on a primal level and how important it was to physically express our emotions. I had learned growing up, like many, many people, to shut them down, right? But in the Emotional Institute and many other practices, we learn to physically express joy, physically express our grief or our rage, our lust, confidence, all of those, not just play the head game about, oh, don't feel that,
Mhm.
stop that. Although I think that's a good practice as well, but we need to physically move our emotions so it doesn't get stuck in our body.
Yes.
So after that, I went to LA and I studied S Factor. And S Factor was created by Sheila Kelly. And this practice taught me to connect to my feminine energy. So now it's more about my energy part of me. And then on the heels of that, I attended Path to Passion. And my husband and I attended. And of course, that's where I learned about the erotic blueprints and that I wasn't broken sexually,
Mhm.
that we all have different languages. Um, and we all have different ways we like to receive
Mhm.
as well. So I've woven all of these works into my practice. And through that, I teach women presence. I teach them how to connect to their sexuality and sensuality and to express all of their emotions and transform their energy into ecstasy.
Mm.
So it was pretty great that I was able to do all of those things, and now I can bring them to my clients.
Yeah, and I think like it's a huge gift that you started from like the physical in all of this, like integrating with the body. And what I love about that is that like I said in the beginning, like there's an ignoring of the body and the emotions and how they live here
Right.
in the body. Sometimes, like, so I started by studying fitness when I was in the military, and then nutrition, and then massage, and then like emotions, and then sexuality and tantra, like all these different things. But when you bring the body into all of it, and then see how the body contributes, and not just the body like contributing, but like the confidence that people have, because body image is such a big thing.
Yes.
um, I know, like, for me, when before it was like I had to be a certain size to be in the military or I was going to get in trouble. So I had to be little, and I would think like after a while I developed body dysmorphia. I think I had it since I was a kid, but the whole time I'm thinking like if I just get this size of body that I want, then I'll have all the confidence, my sex life will be amazing, I'll have all the things that I want because I'm beautiful. But then like there's so much more than that physical aspect. And what I love about what you did was like you have the physical like aspect covered in the fitness industry, and then like the layers of the emotions, and then finding the actual sensuality. No matter what the body looks like, we can have that confidence because we know our body. So this for me it's just exciting, the body talk.
Yeah.
um
And I'm sure you know that when you were at your peak physical condition, I would venture to guess you still weren't happy.
yeah, no, I was still seeking
Yeah.
and thinking like I have to change this physical form or I'm not going to be I won't have, I like, I was in, what is it? Uh, Socially retarded. That's what I call myself. Like I just, if I just have this form and I just look this way, then I'll just be able to put myself out there in these ways, and that would never was the thing that I found when I was just focusing on like the visible aspect of the physical. There's so much more to the physical body, like holding the emotions.
Right.
Um,
I think that's so common, even when I was competing, and I did really well. I won overalls, I won first place, second, thirds. I still wasn't happy, right? Because I was still looking at this part of my body or that part of my body that still wasn't right. And, that sort of is such a great segue into our topic.
yeah.
So our topic is self-love and the body connection. And, when we ponder, why are women so critical? Why are we so critical of ourselves?
Hmm.
How did we get there? Why are we? I would imagine there's some women who have fully accepted and love every part of themselves. I have yet to meet one. Um, but, we weren't born this way.
Hmm.
We learned it. And that's the sad part. We learned this criticalness. And, if we follow our life, so our first experience was our family.
Hmm.
And maybe they were critical or perfectionistic. And we learned there that something is wrong with us. And maybe we began to shut parts down or change things because maybe things weren't quite good enough,
Hmm.
or maybe the expectations were too high. So that translates into being critical of us. And then maybe some who suffered verbal or physical abuse. We take on those attitudes, and if it came from a family member, it teaches us about our value as a human being. So if the people that we love and trust the most betray us by abusing us, it teaches us a very big thing about our worth, our self-worth,
Hmm.
right? And our trust. And it also makes us feel unlovable.
Yeah.
Um, and then next comes school, right? School, mean kids, competing with the other kids. Then there's the awkward teenage years where, different body parts might be growing at different times, and tall and lanky or short and not, and all the things, right?
Yeah.
And then if you're a female, we get to deal with our vulva and periods.
Hmm.
And we're taught that they're disgusting and problematic. And it's a worry, right?
You have to hide it, and
We have
and
to hide it,
nobody should know when you're having that.
right? Right. So there again, we're learning to shut parts down and to be critical. Oh, this vulva that I have, we didn't get the messages. It's a beautiful thing. The messages are to fix it, clean it, hide it, do all of these things. Um, and then let's talk about emotions as a female. Very often, they're considered a sign of weakness, right? Settle down, shut down. Um, and we even unknowingly do this with our kids. Even so many of us that have been in various self improvement works. One thing I think so many of us haven't heard is that we shut our kids down even when they're happy, right? When they're jumping and they're excited, we say, settle down,
Calm
like,
down.
quiet, calm down. So, we, even as parents who are trying to do it right, unknowingly still shut down our kids.
Mhm.
Don't be sad, don't cry. And the other phrase that we hear a lot is say a kid wants a cookie. Instead of saying, I don't want you to have a cookie, we might say, you don't want a cookie,
Mhm.
right? So we're even telling others what they do and don't want. And then lastly, we can't ignore the media.
Mhm.
And for women, the media is success because there's something wrong with us. Our hair needs to be thicker. Our wrinkles need to be hidden. We need buns of steel. Our eyelashes need to be longer. Get rid of our cellulite. We're supposed to be happy all of the time. And
Porn, this is how you're supposed to look when you have sex.
right, right. And then, the message is be sexy, be
Mhm.
content, be an amazing lover, be all of these things. So it's no wonder we talk abusively to ourselves.
Mhm.
And abuse, that's a big word. But if you think about it, most of us would never say those things to a friend or someone we love, the things that we say to ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, have I'm gonna just ask the crowd, like, these are great things that she's talking about. Really feel into them. How often do you actually abuse yourself with things that you would never say to another human being? And like, how kind is that to you? How does it affect you and your
Right,
body?
right.
Yeah.
And, even to the point where if someone gives us a compliment, so often we negate it or we take the attention off of us. But I wonder if it has more to do with our criticalness,
Mm.
self-critical, because if someone says, for instance, wow, your hair looks great today, more often than not, our first thought is, yeah, but this, and like, what about that? Or, yeah, I had a hard time with my hair. We have this message and this story going on. And I think that's more of why we don't accept a compliment than maybe being shy. I think it's more about our self-criticism.
Yeah, the inner talk.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah. It's really fun because um I just stole my niece for a month and a half, or a
oh,
month, I guess, vacation. And she's really interesting because like she's really this amazing gift in the world, because we everywhere we went, she would make it important to like look at people and be like, "Oh, you're so beautiful. I love your glasses.
mm,
Oh, you're so beautiful. I love your hair. Oh, you did your eye makeup so nicely today." And she's 13. She had just this great gift that she was giving people, and I was just observing like, wow, that's magical, and how people receive it. And it was so hard for some people. They would like have to compliment back, and they couldn't say thank you, or they'd like giggle, and it would just lighten them up so much. It was so fun how to see how people reacted and notice what was going on, because sometimes like you can see the things happening in people's mind when I can.
You
I
can see,
notice what's happening in people's minds when they go and like have this kind of experience, and so it's so interesting how those compliments land. And I went like, they must need it that day, or that's such a sweet thing. Like some people just got so excited. Um, so it's fun to see and watch it as an experiment, because I was like, who is this little girl? What is she, what? She's
wow.
doing these things to people, and how can they receive it? And maybe she's just like bringing this gift of learning to receive into the world. So um, I think it's fun to think of that, like how we um, self-talk ourselves, and what can we do to create it as something different. Would it help you if you complimented people and actually looked for different little tiny traits, because can you find them in yourself then? Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So um yeah, that's great. Just a fun topic to think about right now.
Yeah. Well, when our heart is injured
Hmm.
by a lifelong of things, even if we had great parents, no one's perfect, right? And even if we didn't get those types of messages from parents, we're still getting them from all the other
Hmm.
parts of our lives. But when our heart is injured, we barricade it and we protect it. And then when we barricade it, we're less able to receive, and we're less able to heal, right? Because we have this big, strong barricade against our heart.
Yeah.
So long as the barricade is there, it's going to be pretty hard to heal or receive fully.
Well, so how can you see in your clients, like, because a lot of times we can see things in others that, like, that's why we get coaches, right? We can see things in others that we're not willing to see in ourselves. So when you're working with clients, how do you see that their barriers or their barricades show up?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest, um, I don't know if I would call this a barricade. I think it's more of just an unknowing. And the biggest aha and revelation for my clients is the erotic blueprints.
Mm,
Because so many people are in relationships, intimate relationships, and they don't fully understand their partner. And so when I teach them about the blueprints, so many times it's a relief, and they think like, oh, I'm not broken, I'm just this or that. So the erotic blueprints, Jaya created,
mhm,
and there's 5 of them. Just to give a super short little one sentence explanation. Blah, again,
mm,
times. So the sexual is one of the blueprints, and those people, they just want to get to the sex, they want to get to the orgasm, they love nudity, and it's just right there, honing in on it. Another one is sensual, and they need more time and space. If you think of the sensual, think of the senses. So the ambiance, the lighting, the smell, the taste, the feel. This is my really soft feeling
mhm,
here. And that's the sensual. And energetic needs more space also. They need more time. They need their partner to come in slow and take their time. They need teasing and longing. And then you've got the kinky. And the kinky really can be anything that's out of a person's norm. And what most people think of when they hear the word kinky is the farthest their mind can go. And they think that that's kinky. But kinky is just simply that's out whatever's out of their norm.
mhm,
And then the 5th blueprint is the shapeshifter. And the shapeshifter likes all of that. And they might want it all at the same time. So just to give another little summary, sometimes the shapeshifter isn't fed because they get told that they're too much. They want too much. And if you imagine, just as an example, let's take a sexual who, remember, they just want to get right to the sex, the genitalia, the nudity. And let's take a sensual. So a sensual, they want the ambiance, right? Their five senses, they want that stimulated. And you can see how over time, that couple, if they don't understand their blueprint, how it can really create problems. So for instance, the one partner might say to the sexual, all you ever want is sex. And then the sexual might say to the sensual, I can never please you. Like, I don't, the lights are too dim, they're too bright, like this isn't the right blanket, like you're in your head. So you
Takes
can
too
see,
long. I have to touch you this way.
right, right. So to answer your question in long form, that's the biggest thing that I get to share with people. It
Mm.
changes lives and relationships.
Beautiful, beautiful. Good. So, what are your clients' biggest takeaways when they work with you?
Yeah, I think I would have to go back to that. It's
Yeah.
just revolutionary. It
Mm.
really, really is. And then certainly some of the exercises that we do. Also, is the body confidence
Mm.
and the piece that we're talking about as well today. That's also a big takeaway is self-acceptance.
Yeah.
Because if we don't accept ourselves and we're so critical of ourselves, how can we actually give to others fully? Like we can give to them, but we're not giving ourselves fully when we've got it close. So, how can we fully be intimate with others when
Mm.
we're so distanced from ourselves? And then how can we reach out when others are drowning, say, in shame or criticism, if we're in the same place? We can still be empathetic, we can still be understanding. And then how can we treat others with respect if we treat ourselves abusively?
Mhm.
We can't fully give with an empty tank. And this next part, I think, is such a big nugget is self-love is an act of treating ourselves how we would treat anyone else that we love, which is respectfully,
Mhm.
honestly, compassionately, with feeling and understanding, with pride and patience. Wow. If we treated ourselves with all of those things, we would be unstoppable. Unstoppable.
Yes. I'm
Right?
gonna say, parents, moms, like if the way I learned it I was like, I watched how much I showed up for my daughter, and I was like, wow, I wish that I had that. And I was like, wow, what if I just did that for myself? What if
Right.
I could give that to myself and have that and make it a requirement in my world? And so, like, how would you treat yourself if you were a different person? That's a
Yeah.
beautiful message.
And that's one of the components is, I think the first is that we need to forgive ourselves for holding on to our self-critical and judgmental spirit.
Mm.
Forgive ourselves because there was a time when, whether consciously or unconsciously, we thought that was protecting ourselves.
Mhm.
Okay, so we were protecting ourselves, but we don't need to do that anymore. Um, so forgive ourselves for that critical spirit and judgmental spirit. And then in that, becoming a friend to ourselves, which is what you were just speaking about. When we catch ourselves in negative talk, immediately reframe it. It doesn't always mean that the emotion aligns with the reframe,
Yeah.
right? But In some ways, I believe in fake it till you make it. In this way, I believe that because we have to change our self-talk. And as we begin to change that, our feeling and our emotions will change. Right. So, and then like you were saying, if you imagine, what do we do when we're with our friends? So if one of our goals is to be a friend to ourselves, what would that look like?
Mhm.
Maybe it would be a great lunch or dinner. Maybe I would buy myself a special gift. Maybe I would write myself a love note. Maybe I would text myself or write on my mirror. I love to use, by the way, whiteboard markers
Yeah.
on a mirror. So that's a great way to leave notes and write notes to yourself. You know, what if we did that for ourselves once in a while? Or just imagine all of the things that you might go and do with a friend. How would that feel for ourselves? And then I recognize we're all busy. And sometimes as a woman, at the end of the day, we're tired and we don't have time and interest or anything. So I encourage women to put that on their calendar. Make it an appointment, just like you would make an appointment to go have lunch with your friend. This is an appointment to spend time with yourself as a friend, loving yourself, caring for yourself. Um, some people call it a pleasure practice. It has many different names and many different ways that you can show that to yourself.
Beautiful. Those are great tips. I love the putting in your calendar because I'm like a list maker and a calendar like junkie. I always have it with me, actual paper. I love the idea of putting in the calendar. Um, and then it's not one of those dates that you can cancel, right? It's because you're
Because your friend
determined.
is waiting for you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
beautiful, beautiful. So, can you tell us how do you work with people? Are you like a one-on-one coach? How do people find you, and what does that look like to work with you?
Yeah, I work predominantly one-on-one
Hmm.
with clients. I also do speaking engagements and retreats. Although during COVID, I've had to cancel
Hmm.
a couple of retreats. And currently, I'm also offering a complimentary Passionate Possibilities session. So if anyone is listening or catching the replay, you are welcome to take advantage of this as well. And um, in this session, we take a look at where you are now, what your specific goals are, and what might be stopping you from having the sex life you desire. And as well, the Passionate Possibilities session, in and of itself, is a transformative experience. And it does leave women inspired and open to new possibilities. Um, this session has a value of $249. Currently, I'm offering it complimentary, but it's really only a session for people who are really serious
Hmm.
and want to grow and learn and progress.
Beautiful. I love that. Passion and Possibilities calls open doors to so many things that we never thought even existed in our world just by like having someone to hold you in a space. So that's a great offering. Thank you for offering that here and for whoever listens. If you're serious about learning something new and hear what Rain has to say in our thing and it hits you in a certain way, and this is something you want to look more at, I totally recommend getting a Passion Possibilities call. It's a great gift, Rain. Thank you.
Thank you.
Uh,
And if they want to schedule, they can just go to my website, which is ambitiousliving.com.
Beautiful. Thanks. That was my next question. How do they even get that? So perfect. So what I like to leave the conversations with usually is like, if you had one tool, you shared so many actually, just make a date with yourself and make yourself important. Start there. But if you had one tool, like that you would say for somebody who is just starting and just like heard your words and was like, wow, what one tool could you leave them with that they could play with today?
Okay, so one tool would be something I spoke about earlier, and that is to recognize our critical voice and then reframe it and speak it.
Mm, beautiful.
And again, it doesn't mean you believe it right away, but
Right. So use that.
yeah, yeah.
Fake it till you make it.
Make it till you make it in that way, not in
Oh, perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Rain, and for sharing with the Shameless Explorations community and wherever else you see this video, because it's going to go in lots of different places. So, hello, everybody, and I thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and your time and just yourself with me today.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes. So I'm Holly Lotus, and you can find me in Shameless Explorations. And also, if you find it anywhere else, you can contact me. Shameless Explorations is a group on Facebook, but you can contact me at holly@shamelessexplorations.com. See you next time.
Thank you.